I was sitting inside my car when my grandmother's phone call shattered everything I believed about my family. "Emily, dear, how are you feeling?" she asked, her voice thick with concern. "I'm fine, Grandma. What is wrong?" "Well, I just wanted to check on your health. Your parents mentioned you have been seriously ill, and that is why you could not attend the wedding." My stomach twisted tightly with pain. "What wedding, Grandma?" The silence after her words seemed endless, filled only with her breathing and my heart pounding loudly in my ears. "What do you mean? What wedding?" "Olivia's wedding. It happened last weekend." My hands started trembling. My own sister had gotten married. My parents lied about why I was absent. And I, the older sister, had been completely erased from one of the most significant days in our family's life. I clenched the steering wheel until my knuckles turned pale, struggling to keep calm as the reality crashed over me like a flood. This was not simply about missing a wedding. It was about finally confronting something I had refused to face my entire life. To my family, I might as well have been invisible. My name is Emily Mitchell. I am 33 years old. For most of my life, I have been the overlooked daughter in a family that revolved around my younger sister, Olivia. You know those families where one child seems to absorb all the attention and energy in the room? That was Olivia. Not because she was She was not remarkable because she was particularly skilled or successful, but because she had a way of making everything revolve around herself. And my parents allowed it. For many years, every Sunday, we followed the same family dinner pattern at my parents' home. Mom's pot roast filled the kitchen with its deep, comforting scent. Dad grumbled about his golf game, and Olivia was glued to her phone whenever she was not dominating the conversation. Most Sundays, I wished I could be alone at home. Yet family responsibilities are strong. They compel you to appear even when you feel yourself fading away. This Sunday began just like any other. The scent of overcooked vegetables lingered in the air. Dad was already deep into his third complaint about golf. Olivia pretended to listen while endlessly scrolling through Instagram. But then something changed. Olivia suddenly put her phone down, which was as rare as a miracle, and flashed a huge smile. She was almost buzzing with excitement in her seat. "Guys, I have news," she said, building suspense like she was about to announce an Oscar winner. She lifted her left hand, and there it was, a diamond ring sparkling under the kitchen lights. "Oh my God, Olivia," Mom exclaimed. Her shout could have broken glass. She jumped out of her chair so quickly she nearly toppled her wine glass. "When did this happen?" "Last night," Olivia said brightly. "We dined at that new restaurant downtown, and he proposed right there at the table. It was incredibly romantic." I was truly happy for her in that moment. Olivia had been with Jack for about 2 years, and even though he was not exactly the most thrilling person, he treated her kindly. "Congratulations," I said, as I reached over to gently squeeze her hand. "I am really happy for you. I hope you will let me be your bridesmaid." That was the moment Olivia's expression changed in a strange way. It froze briefly, and she appeared uneasy, almost as if I had asked something inappropriate. She glanced at Mom and Dad, then back at me. "Oh, well, I have not really thought about all that yet. I mean, we literally just got engaged last night. There is so much else we need to figure out first. Budget, venue, all those important details." I should have noticed something was off immediately, but I gave her the benefit of the doubt. Fresh engagement, lots to process. I understood. After dinner, I decided to wait patiently. I assumed someone would soon mention wedding plans, maybe even ask for my help organizing or include me in some decisions. I kept expecting calls about dress shopping, venue visits, or cake tastings, those classic sister moments you see in movies. However, weeks passed into months, and I heard nothing. No calls, no messages, no casual wedding talk during our Sunday dinners. If the topic came up at all, Olivia only made vague remarks like, "Oh, we are still looking at venues," or "We haven't picked a date yet." Slowly, I began to feel like I was losing my mind. Was I supposed to push for involvement? Was I being too passive? Every time I attempted to address it, the conversation somehow shifted to another topic. Usually, it was about whatever drama Olivia was dealing with at work. Then came that phone call from Grandma that altered everything. After hanging up, I sat in the parking lot feeling as if my entire world had been turned upside down. My hands trembled as I grabbed my phone and opened Instagram, a platform I rarely used. I located Olivia's profile and immediately saw it. Numerous photos from what was clearly a wedding. Olivia, in a beautiful white gown, Jack looking sharp in his tuxedo, both radiant with joy. But it wasn't just the two of them. As I scrolled through the pictures, my heart sank further with each one. There was Mom, tears streaming down her cheeks in the way only mothers cry at their daughters' weddings. Dad appeared prouder than I had ever witnessed, walking Olivia down the aisle. The entire wedding party posed together as if for a magazine cover. A massive cake that likely cost more than my monthly rent. People dancing, smiling, and celebrating. And then, I reached the guest list. That was when the sickness in my stomach truly hit. Our childhood neighbors. Dad's golfing friends from the country club. His colleagues from the accounting firm. Mom's book club members. Relatives I hadn't seen in years. Cousins from 3 states away. My great-aunt from California who only attends significant family events. Even people who, hardly staying connected with our family, they were all smiling and rejoicing on my sister's special day. Every single person. Everyone. Except me. This was not some private event with limited attendance. It was a grand celebration, easily hosting more than 100 guests. They had invited practically everyone they ever knew except their own daughter and sister. The journey to my parents' home remains a haze. I was fueled solely by adrenaline and anger, my hands clutching the steering wheel so tightly that my knuckles turned pale. My mind was consumed by those photos and the fact that I had been erased from my family's most significant occasion. I did not even knock. I simply walked straight through the front door, just like I normally did. "Emily," Mom called out from the kitchen, "you are here? It is not Sunday." She appeared around the corner, drying her hands on a dish towel. The moment she saw my face, I observed her expression shift. She realized. She knew exactly why I had shown up. Why was I not invited to Olivia's wedding? I asked bluntly, not wasting any time. Mom's face turned white. She glanced around as if expecting Dad to show up magically, ready to help her handle this conversation. "Emily, let me explain." "Dad," I yelled, raising my voice, "come here at once." Dad emerged from the living room, looking irritated, as if I were disturbing something important. "What are you shouting about? Explain why I was not welcome to Olivia's wedding." They exchanged a look that spoke volumes, one of those quiet exchanges married couples share when deciding who should take care of an unwelcome task. "Look, Emily," Mom said softly, "you know you're not really into big gatherings and crowds. We just assumed you wouldn't want to attend anyway." I stared at her, genuinely lost for words for a moment. "Are you really serious right now? You made the choice for me without asking, deciding I wouldn't want to be at my own sister's wedding." Dad added, "You never showed any interest when we mentioned it. You didn't bring it up for months. Nobody said a word to me about wedding plans. I was waiting for someone to bring it up, but you all acted like it wasn't happening." Mom sank down heavily at the kitchen table, suddenly looking far older than her age. "Emily, you have to understand." "No, I don't have to understand anything. Just be honest with me." Dad folded his arms and seemed to decide to stop sugarcoating the truth. "Fine. You want the truth? Olivia's life is all put together. She's successful. She's marrying a lawyer. Her career is headed in the right direction. What would you even say at that wedding? You'd just be standing there feeling sorry for yourself. My mouth dropped open. Excuse me? Mom spoke quietly, as if she was doing me some sort of favor. We didn't want to see you standing there all alone feeling bad about yourself because you're not married and don't even have a boyfriend. Of course, you invited Amanda, I pointed out, referring to our cousin who is 5 years older than me and also single. Emily's mother glanced down at her hands, speechless. The real issue, I confessed, washed over me like a sudden wave, is that you all are so used to me never asking for anything that you simply forgot I even existed. You completely overlooked my feelings. That's unfair, my father objected. Is it really? When was the last time any of you checked in on how I was doing? When did you last include me in any important matter? I am your daughter, yet you treated me like a distant relative you barely tolerate. The kitchen fell silent except for the soft buzzing of the refrigerator. Emily's mother kept staring at her hands while my father avoided looking at me. Suddenly calm, I said, I guess now you realize not to expect an invitation to my wedding. Emily's mother glanced up and actually smiled. Jack laughed out loud. I don't think I'll be holding my breath for that invitation anytime soon. Let's face it, you probably will never get married. I did not argue. What was the use? They clearly had no clue about what was truly happening in my life. At that moment, I understood I no longer wanted to explain myself to them. Fine, I said simply. We'll see about that. Then I turned and left their house. Throughout the entire drive back to my apartment, I kept reflecting on how mistaken they were about everything. They did not have any understanding of my life. Moreover, they clearly showed they were not interested enough to learn the truth. Here is what they were unaware of. A year ago, I was promoted to deputy director at my company, which was a significant achievement I was eager to share with them. However, every time I mentioned it, Olivia would interrupt with some story about her own job or the latest drama in her life. Eventually, I gave up trying. 8 months ago, I purchased my own apartment in one of the most prestigious neighborhoods in the city. I felt incredibly proud. It was my first true home, something entirely mine. Yet again, when I tried to inform my family, the conversation was always taken over by Olivia's recent updates. And then there was the biggest secret they did not know about. I had been in a relationship with someone named Julian for several years. We met during college, where he was enrolled in a parallel program to mine, and we had been friends for a long time. I had no idea that his family was wealthy. After graduation, we lost contact for a while, as life pulled us in different directions. 7 years ago, when I began working at my current company, I was surprised to find Julian there. He already held a high-ranking position, and I later discovered that his father actually owned the company. We reconnected, became friends again, and eventually started dating. Around 6 months ago. Several months before Olivia's wedding, and half a year before I discovered I had been shut out by my own family, Julian had asked me to marry him. We had been engaged for 6 months, yet not a single family member had spotted the ring on my finger. No one ever inquired why I suddenly wore jewelry on my left hand. Everyone was so absorbed in Olivia's world that nothing else caught their attention. Julian and I agreed to keep our relationship low-key. His family was quite prominent in our city. They frequently appeared in local news for business ventures or charitable events, yet they valued their privacy deeply. They did not maintain social media profiles and avoided public gossip about their personal affairs. I was not from a wealthy background, obviously, but I admired their discretion. I did not want my relationship to become a public topic either, so I kept it under wraps. Over the years, I had attempted to mention Julian to my family multiple times, but each time I brought up his name, Olivia would overshadow me with some anecdote about herself, and my parents' attention would turn to her instead. Eventually, I gave up trying, and my parents never once asked me what I had hoped to share with them. Following that confrontation with my parents, I returned home and had a serious talk with Julian about everything that happened. "So what do you want to do?" he asked after I finished my story, his eyes soft, but worried as he held my hands firmly. "I want to remove them from my life." "Our guest list," I declared without any doubt. Julian agreed at once. "That sounds right. Given what they did to you, they should not be invited. We've been planning an intimate wedding anyhow, just among our closest friends and family, maybe about 30 people total." Julian's parents were kindly covering all the expenses, and his mother along with his sister took charge of most of the arrangements, which relieved a great deal of pressure from me. The following day, I contacted my grandmother, my aunt, and my 2 cousins on my mother's side. These were the only relatives I truly wished to have at the ceremony, so I sent them formal invitations nearly 2 months ahead of the event. "Emily, this is such thrilling news," my aunt said joyfully upon receiving the invitation, her voice full of heartfelt enthusiasm. "I had no clue you were dating someone serious." "We have been together for some time," I explained. "We just prefer to keep things private." "Well, my dear, I am absolutely delighted for you. The venue looks stunning from the photos." We had selected a magnificent old mansion for the wedding. Julian's family had connections with the owners, making it an ideal spot. His mother and sister spared no effort with the decorations, adorning the garden with lights and garlands hanging from every tree, creating a breathtaking wedding arch made of lanterns. The waitstaff wore vintage clothing that matched the mansion's historic era. It was shaping up to be a wedding straight out of a storybook. Everything was unfolding perfectly until about a month before the ceremony. During the wedding, my phone suddenly rang, and I saw my mother's name flashing on the screen. I almost didn't answer, but decided to just get it over with. Emily shouted into the phone before I even managed to say hello. "Your father and I are completely shocked. How could you not invite your own parents to your wedding? We only found out by accident when we saw the invitation at your grandmother's place." I remained calm. Her voice no longer held the power to upset me like it used to. I reminded her, "I told you not to expect an invitation to my wedding. You were there when I said it." She replied, "You can't be serious, Emily. We are your parents and Olivia is your sister." Yet that did not stop her from excluding me. "Emily, please, we can fix this. We made a mistake with Olivia's wedding." I immediately hung up on her. About an hour later, Olivia called. "Emily, what the hell?" she said as soon as I answered. "Why didn't you invite me to your wedding? A normal sister wouldn't do that." I didn't even try to explain myself and ended the call abruptly. A few days later, my cousin revealed what the family's true feelings were. Apparently, my cousin had mentioned that my wedding would only have 30 guests, and Olivia reacted angrily. She said they were throwing some cheap and pathetic wedding in a backyard. "It's so embarrassing," Olivia said. "My wedding had 150 people, whereas Emily's only has 30. They probably couldn't afford anything better." After my cousin shared what Olivia had said, I felt even more confident about my choice to leave them out. They clearly did not grasp the kind of wedding we were actually planning. To be honest, I did not care if they ever found out. The day of the wedding came, and everything was absolutely flawless. The weather was stunning. The mansion looked breathtaking with all the decorations, and every guest genuinely wanted to be there. My grandmother shed tears of joy during the ceremony. My aunt delivered the most heartfelt toast at dinner, and my cousins helped me with my gown and captured numerous photos. I did not upload any pictures on social media because that is not my style, but my cousin shared a few on her Instagram. She has always been really into that kind of thing, and I did not mind her posting some moments from the celebration. That is when everything erupted. A few days after the wedding, my phone blew up with calls and texts from my parents and Olivia. I ignored most of them, but I caught glimpses of the messages on my lock screen. "Why did you not tell us about your wealthy fiancé?" From Olivia. "You have embarrassed us in front of the whole town," from my mother. "Call us back right now," from my father. Eventually, I checked my cousin's Instagram to see what they had been looking at. She had posted several photos from the wedding, including some with Julian and his parents. Anyone from our town would instantly recognize Julian's father. He is always featured in local news, is close friends with the mayor, and often appears at community events. The university board of trustees includes him, and he manages several thriving businesses along with a charitable organization. Essentially, he is one of the most influential entrepreneurs in the region. Eventually, my family discovered who I had married, and they were absolutely shocked. My mother reacted the worst. She began publishing posts on Facebook, accusing me of betraying my family by not inviting them to the wedding. These posts were lengthy, and claimed that a devoted daughter would never treat her parents this way. She even shared that my father was devastated because he had always dreamed of escorting me down the aisle. Every single day brought a new post about me. She labeled me ungrateful, heartless, selfish, and used nearly every harsh word imaginable. It was humiliating, but I chose to disregard it, hoping it would soon fade away. However, then Olivia's father reached his limit. One evening, Julian spoke with an unusually serious tone as he sat next to me. "Emily, my father wants to contact your parents because of their social media posts about you and our family, and he will no longer put up with it." I felt uneasy, but Julian's father is not someone you can argue against. That very night he called my parents. I am not certain what exactly he told them, but Julian shared the gist. He reprimanded my parents for embarrassing both me and his family through their posts. He warned that if they persisted, he would reveal the truth to everyone in town about what actually happened, including how they had excluded me from Olivia's wedding and then lied about it. He also mentioned that he had connections at newspapers and television stations, and that he had ensured everyone at my father's golf club and my parents' church knew the true version of events. After that call, the posts on social media stopped immediately. My parents and Olivia also ceased calling and texting me. At last, there was silence. Life remained calm for approximately 6 months after the wedding. Julian and I settled into life as a married couple, and I continued working at his firm. I had grown accustomed to the quiet without the constant turmoil from my family's drama. Then one day, Human Resources summoned me to their office. "Emily, we received a resume yesterday, and the applicant listed you as a reference," the HR manager explained while sliding a folder toward me. Opening it, I saw Olivia's name at the top. My heart sank. She wrote that I could strongly vouch for her work ethic and character, the HR director added. I glanced at Olivia's resume briefly before closing the folder. "Please handle her application by the standard procedure." "I will not be giving any special endorsement," I said. A week later, Human Resources informed me that Olivia had not been invited for an interview. Her qualifications simply did not match those of other applicants. This did not surprise me. Olivia had always cared more about enjoying herself than developing real abilities. 2 days after that, my phone rang. It was my mother. Without greeting me, she said, "Emily, how could you do this to your sister? Olivia applied for a position at your company, and you deliberately ruined her chances." I did not ruin anything. I told Human Resources to assess her application fairly, and she was simply not selected. You should have supported her. She is your sister. She is the sister who did not invite me to her wedding, remember? And you are the mother who said I would likely never get married. Mom paused for a moment. "Emily, that is all behind us now. Olivia really needs that job. Then she should have submitted her application somewhere else." I ended the call. 3 days later, Olivia arrived at my apartment. I answered the door, and she pushed past me straight into my living room. "We need to talk," she declared. "You cannot be serious about this, Emily. You have to help me secure that job. I am under no obligation to assist you." "Yes, you are. You are my sister. Families should support each other." I almost chuckled at that. Family is supposed to help family. Where was that idea when you were planning your wedding? That situation was different. No, it was not different at all. You and Mom and Dad made it perfectly clear that I am not really part of this family, so do not come here now asking for favors. Olivia's face flushed red. You know what? You have always been envious of me, and this is just your way of getting back at me. I am not envious of you, Olivia. I just want nothing more to do with you. Olivia stormed out, slamming the door so loudly that my neighbor came out to see what was going on. After that, another 6 months passed quietly. Emily and I were settling into a new rhythm, and I actually started feeling happy again. Then I discovered I was expecting a baby. Both of us were overjoyed about the pregnancy, and Jack's parents were ecstatic to become grandparents. The only person I confided in from my family was my grandmother, since she had always been kind to me. I should have guessed Grandma would share the news with my parents. A few weeks later, a package showed up at my apartment. Inside were small hand-knitted baby booties, along with a photograph of my mother sitting in her chair, knitting. There was no message, but the meaning was obvious. It was meant as some kind of gesture for reconciliation. I gazed at that picture for a long while. Part of me wanted to believe maybe my parents finally understood how much they had hurt me. Maybe they truly wished to mend things between us. But then I recalled how they laughed when I said they would not be invited to my wedding. I remembered my father saying I might never get married. I thought of the months when they completely ignored me while secretly organizing Olivia's wedding behind my back. That night I asked Jack what he thought I should do. Showing him the booties and the photo, he replied, "That choice is yours," his gaze soft. "Do you want them involved in our child's life?" I wasn't sure. A part of me longed for a family connection, yet thinking about their past treatment made my anger rise again. "Whatever you decide, I am here for you," he said. I tucked the booties into a drawer and tried not to think about it. Reflecting on it, just last week I was scrolling through Facebook and came across a post by my mother. She shared how joyful and thrilled she was that both of her daughters were expecting children. It turned out that Olivia was pregnant as well. For the first time in over a year, my mother had posted something positive about me. She did not bring up our argument or the wedding chaos. Instead, she focused on her excitement to become a grandmother to 2 babies. I read that message about 10 times, trying to understand what it implied. Was this her way of making amends? Was she finally prepared to accept me as a true daughter? Or was this just about the babies, and she would return to ignoring me once the excitement faded? Honestly, I am unsure of what to do. Julian's family has been incredible. They have embraced me completely and treated me as if I always belonged, yet they cannot substitute the family I was raised with, no matter how amazing they are. I keep thinking about the picture of my mom knitting baby booties. She appeared so calm and joyful in it, as though she was sincerely happy about becoming a grandmother. Maybe people truly can change. Maybe she genuinely wants to repair our relationship. But then I remember the photos from Olivia's wedding and how my parents told everyone I was too ill to attend, when in reality, they just did not want me there. I recall how they laughed at the thought of me getting married. I remember how they never even noticed my engagement ring, nor asked any questions about it. They never showed the slightest interest in my life until they discovered who I had married. Can you truly forgive something like that? Should you even try? Honestly, I am still unsure. My husband insists it is my decision, and promises to back me no matter what I choose. My grandmother believes they deserve a second chance. Meanwhile, my aunt argues they have no right to one. What I am certain about is that I am no longer the same person I was 2 years ago. I will no longer plead for their attention. I refuse to prove that I deserve a place within my own family. If they want a relationship with me and my child, they will have to work for it. So, I guess time will tell what unfolds from here. Perhaps they have learned a lesson from everything that happened. Maybe at last they realize that actions bring consequences. Or it might all be another manipulation, and they will return to treating me as if I do not matter once they have achieved their aims. Here is what I have discovered through all this experience. Often, those who hurt you the most are meant to be the ones who love you deeply. And sometimes, the greatest form of self-respect is to walk away from people who cannot recognize your value, even if you share the same blood. I appreciate you listening, and if this story resonates with you, please share it with others facing struggles in family relations. Also, remember to comment and subscribe for more stories about discovering your own worth when others fail to acknowledge it. Keep in mind, blood ties may connect you, but love and respect truly create a family.